Okay, now, this one is 5.669/16. Let's see what it looks like. I'll tell you if it's a test question or not. Yep, it's a test question. A large waterfall is managed so that a minimum of 190,000 cubic feet of water. Y'all know what a cubic feet of water is? Think of a glass box. It's 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot. Yeah. 1 foot this way and 1 foot that way. Trying to think of something it looks like. Think of half a shoebox. No, that's too small. Think of a small, you know the old small TVs that used to have a videotape in them? They were white and some of them they were black. People used to put them in their cars and put a, like on long trips, put a cigarette lighter to it, and they used to, anyway, they were about this long, about this tall. Anyway, that's about a cubic foot. So you're talking about 190,000 of those little TVs full of water coming over every second. Every second. Can you imagine that? Find the minimum amount of water that will flow over a 24-hour period during tourist season. Piece of cake. This is called, and write in your notes, a unit conversion. Write that down. A unit conversion. Why is it called a unit conversion? Because you got to change units. Why? What is the cubic feet per second? Per what? Per second. Okay, circle that second or highlight that second. And then highlight what comes after the 24. What comes after the 24? Hour. So you got 2 units. So you've got to either use one or convert. You've got to change one or change the other. Or you can just do unit conversion. Now when you do a unit conversion, the first thing you want to do is make the first unit a fraction. Number 1, make first unit a fraction. Usually you can do this by putting it over 1, unless they tell you something different. Like if they told you 190,000 every 2 days, then it would be 190,000 over 2. But they don't do that. They say 190,000 per what? How many seconds? 1. So you're going to make that 190,000 over 1. And you're going to write it like this. 190,000 what? Feet cubed per what? Per 1 second. Make it a fraction. 90% of the time, it's going to give you a fraction with 1 being the denominator. The other 10% of the time, it will give you something in the denominator, like a 2, or it'll say there's, I can't think of it right now. But anyway, you'll see the difference. Okay? Now, remember, which way can you cancel with multiplication or a fraction? You can cancel diagonally, and you can cancel what? Vertically. So, I need to make sure that I cancel out my seconds. So that means what's got to go on the top over here? Seconds. Now, what's the next unit of measurement beside a second? A minute. How many seconds are in a minute? So I'm going to put 60 seconds in 1 what? Now I got to change minutes. So I got to put minutes over here. And what's the next unit of measurement with minutes? And what are we looking for? An hour. But we got to multiply it by 24 because we've just changed it per hour. Why? Watch. If you cancel the units out, seconds, diagonally, and minutes, diagonally, because this is multiplication, then you get cubic feet, the TVs, per what? per 1 hour. But they want you in a what? 24-hour period. So you multiply by what? 24 what? Hours equals what? 1 day. And what else cancels? The hours cancel. Because the question is asking for what? It says a minimum of what? So it's not asking for cubic feet per hour. It's asking for cubic feet. All right? So cubic feet per hour is called a rate or a speed. Say rate, because if you go in physics class and say speed, you'll have a heart attack. Okay? But it's the same thing. Speed, rate, same thing. So now what we got to do? Just do what? Plug and chug. Multiply across, multiply on the bottom, multiply on the top, multiply on the bottom, and you'll get cubic feet per what? Per day. Which they're not asking for day, they're just asking for cubic feet per day, per 24 hours. So, I change everything into a what? Scientific notation. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1.9 times 10 to the 5th power. I'm not worried. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, so I'm not worried about the denominator. Multiplied by 6.0 times 10 to the 1st. Multiplied by 6.0. Oops. Times 10 to the 1st. 2.4 times 10 to the 1st. Now, why am I changing everything to scientific notation? Because at least I can do take my handy dandy highlighter. At least I can do these in my what? Mentally, in my head. Because they're all the same what? Base. You add the what? Exponents. So you can do that in your head. 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is what? So that's 5 to the 8th, 10 to the 8th power. So I go blank times 10 to the 8th power cubic feet. That's going to be my answer. And I just got to figure out this part. Well, I know 6 times 6 is what? I know that's 36, right? Everybody knows that, right? And then you can multiply it by 2.4 or 1.9. You can multiply it by 1.9, and that'll give you 36, but you got to worry about that 9. That's really 90%. So 10% of 3.6, that would be 32.4. So 32.4 plus 36 is 79. So if you take 1.9 times 36, what do you get? I think I did 79. It might be 69. So I take 1.9 times 36. What do you get? $36 times 1.9?
Oh, 36.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's 36? Somebody do it on the calculator. I said 69 or 79. I think it's going to be 69. Yeah, 69, I think. Okay, somebody, calculator drill team. 68.4, okay. 68.4, so I got right here, by my head, by mentally, I got 68, I said 69. 68.4, and I'm going to multiply that by 2.4. Well, 2 times 68.4, that's 136.8. So I'm going to say 136.8. And then 10%, 68.4 is 6.84. So 6.84 times 4 is going to be 273.2. 273.2. hold on a second. 273.2, 273.2. I think I messed something up there. Hold on, 6.84. I messed up that second number. I'm sorry. 68.4. Okay, 2 times 68. 68 would be 136. 136.8. And then 6.84 is not 273. 6.84 times 4. 6.8, 27. There we go. 27. Okay. So that's going to be 160. 160, what's 7 plus 6? 3. 164. Somebody check my math. Is it 1.6? Is it 164? Multiply 68.4 times 2.4. What do you get?
160.
Okay, I was a little bit off. 160 what?
164.
0.16. Is it in scientific notation?
No.
Does it ask for scientific notation? I think it does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got to change it. So I got 1 and what? 2. So 16416, 1.6416 times 10 to the 8 blank 2. Which way do I move this in my head to get it back the way it was down here? To the right. So your final answer is 1.6416 times 10 to the 10th power. That is a BA number. You're talking 1.6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1,000, million, billion, 16 billion cubic, 16 billion little TVs. 16 billion in one day. What do you think? You know, even fathom that? I can't fathom 16 billion TVs. A lot of water. That's why there's 2 things you don't play with. Water and what? Fire. Let's type it in and see if I'm crazy. Because I teach y'all that weird way to do scientific notation. Never seen it before, but it works. 1.6, does it say round? Now, it doesn't say round, and it has whole numbers, so I'm just going to say 1.64. 1.64, shift multiplication symbol, which is star, 10, shift up, or go up, yeah, shift up. And what's my 10th power? So if my way is wrong, then that means this one's going to be wrong. Uh-oh. I bet they want the whole number. Let's see what they want. 1.6416. Wow, I got it right. So if you got the 6th power, why would you have the 6th power? Because you don't know what you're doing. Because you went the wrong way. Now, if you got it right and you used the method that you learned wherever you learned it, then that's fine too. I don't care. As long as you get the right answer, I'm good. Now, this is called a unit conversion. If you're going in the medical field, you're going to see this a whole lot more in your biology and your nursing classes. So you might want to put a tab on this note right here because this is called a unit conversion. First thing you do is make the unit given right here, right there. You need to highlight that right there. 190,000 cubic feet of water per second. That right there is what you need to highlight. That's your given information. And when you put it over, you got to put the units with it because that tells you what to do for the rest of the problem. Second thing is setting it up. The only thing you got to remember with setting it up is that you're going to be thinking diagonally. You got to think diagonally when you get rid of these units. And the third thing you do is check it to see what you have. You have cubic feet per day. And this is cubic feet per 24-hour period, which is a day. Does that help? Hope it does. If it doesn't, then I'm sorry. There's nothing else I can do. Question. All right, next question. Oh, me. 5.673/18, and this is probably going to be a test question also. Yep, the one I showed you, I think I showed you this one, or one like it in the notes. It says the mass, okay, no, it's not distance, it's mass. The mass of planet A is approximately 2 times 10 to the 28, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, now, let's say that I can't ask anybody in here. I'm thinking. We've got predominantly females in here, so I can't ask them. How much you weigh?
185.
How much you weigh?
183.
All right, Miss Shaw, I got to pick on you because I know you. How much you weigh? Roundabout. You don't have to tell me exactly. Exactly. That's what I was looking for, okay? The only reason I asked her is because I know her. All right. Why did I ask her that? Well, I weigh, right now, what did I weigh last? I'm thinking, hold on. 260. All right? I weigh 260. How much more than I weigh than she does? I mean, just thinking about times. Huh? 2.6. Why? Or 2 times. I weigh about 2 times more than she does, don't I? Why? Because you take 200 and you divide, or 230, and you divide it by what? How much does she weigh? That's how you find out how much something times is. So what are you going to do up here? Are you going to take the smaller one, divide by the big one, or the big one divided by the small one? What did you do with our weights? You put the big one on top, little one on the bottom, you divide it out, and that's how many times. Whenever you do a word problem, always try to take it back to a real world with whole numbers. Forget the planets, forget the scientific notation, drop it down to, okay, if I'm going to make 12 cookies with a cup of flour, what if I want to make 72 cookies? Or whatever. I want to make 3 times that. Well, you take that number and divide by 12, and you get how many times that makes it. So 72 is 3 times 24, isn't it? Okay? So if it makes 1 dozen, 1 dozen. That'd be 36. Okay? If I want to make 36 cookies, I take 36 and I divide by 12, and that's 3 times as much. So I multiply the 1 cup times 3 times. That's how you do the word problems, and that's how I did them. When I couldn't do them the way the teacher showed me, I related them back to a problem that's real what? Real basic. Something that you know how to do. And it's either going to be multiplication, addition, subtraction, or addition, because there is no other, or there are no other, whatever. Multiplication, there is no operations, there ain't no other operations, whatever. I don't know what the grammatical.
It's not an English class.
Okay.
Whatever.
So there ain't none. There's only addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So you can think of 4 problems that do that in the real world. Okay? If I pay $10 more for this cake than I do this cake, how much is the first cake? X plus 4. $4 more. $4 less would be X minus 4. Capiche? All you have to do is relate it to a problem that you did, that you know in real world, and whole numbers. And then once you figure out what operation to do, you take it back and use scientific notation. So what are you going to do? it's not rhetorical. I'm asking y'all for interaction here. You know, communication. I know guys, y'all don't know about communication, but women, y'all do.
You would divide 3 times 10 to the 22nd by 2 times 10 to the... Is that...
Y'all didn't listen to a word I just said.
Wait.
Which one's going to have more zeros?
I can't read that.
Okay, then sit in the front of the room.
Okay, fair enough.
So you put the big one on top. Which one has more zeros? The 28th power? 28 versus 22? Y'all sitting there like this. Y'all act like y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. Which is bigger, 28 or 22?
28.
And which one goes on top?
28.
Okay, do it. And divide. I'm sorry, I didn't mean you actually had to do that.
That's fine. It'd be better for me to do that anyway.
It's 2 times 10 to the 28th divided by 3.3 times 10 to the 22nd. I don't understand why y'all sit in the back of the room. Y'all must be Southern Baptist. Get to the chicken pasture. I'm a Southern Baptist, so don't go to the management yet and fuss about me. I can make fun of myself if I want to. And if you can't do it, just write it up as what? Failure. You failed. You're a loser. Everybody looks like they're winged on a pickle today. What's the matter with everybody? Is it a bad day? Y'all hung over or what?
I'm just glad the Patriots didn't win.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I watched movies all day yesterday. No way in Hades I was going to give them a second of my time. They're starting to figure out to not bite the hand that feeds them, I believe. Because from what I hear, none of them kneeled yesterday. They're starting to figure it out. The NFL is. That'd be like...
They didn't kneel again?
Huh?
They didn't kneel again?
No, not a single player kneeled. You don't protest the thing that gives you the freedom to protest. Period. Because that makes no what? It makes no sense. That'd be like protesting your mother that she had you. Think about it. Think about it. I mean, you got to think out of the box. Some of y'all know what's out of the box means. I'm going to protest. I'm going to protest the law against murder, said the person that murdered someone. Doesn't make any sense. Now, if they just tell everybody that they were having a temper tantrum, everybody would, but, oh well. Let's just get rid of the police. Let's get rid of government and everybody run around acting like wild animals.
Will nobody be alive?
What would happen?
Would nobody be alive? Sorry.
Because when you have no order, you have what? Starts with a C. Chaos. And I hate to tell y'all this, but that's what defines us from what? The animals. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you're going to steal something, you already seen Chris Rock. Now, you talk about funny. Google Chris Rock and how not to get beat up by policemen. That is one of the funniest videos I think I've ever seen. I wish I could put it all over my Facebook page. I did one time. People loved it. It's great. And what they do is they act out what happens if you do this and what happens if you don't. And when you don't, they show this guy getting beat up every time, pulled out of the car and getting beat up. But it makes a lot of sense. One of the things is don't curse out the police officer before you know what he stopped you for. You know, that's kind of a good thing to do. Don't get out of the car and say the things that some of these people say. Do you do your mama or daddy like that? So, some things are just common sense. 2.0 times 10 to the 28th power over 3.0 times 10 to the what? 22nd power. Just like we did 260 over 100. The larger one goes on top. So this is 2.6 times, oops. I just did moving the decimal 2 places. So that'd be 2.6 times larger. This one would be 2/3, which is point what? 67. Just repeating. So we'll just say 4.67. And if you take a lot of math courses, you're going to find out that 2/3 is 0.67. You're going to memorize it. And then what is 28 minus 22?
6.
Times 10 to the 6th. Okay, now that means absolutely no sense when you put it in times. And what do they tell you to do? Because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, I'm 2.6 times bigger than she is. I'm going to say 3 times. I'm not going to say 2.6. When you're talking about multiplication of how big something is compared to something else, you're going to say the whole number times. You're not going to say 2.6, 2.67. You're not going to do that. All right? So, is this in scientific notation first? No. One place. 10 to the 6th, blank 1. Which way did I move this decimal in my head to get it back the way it was? To the left, that's going to be a minus. So my final answer in scientific notation is 6.7 times 10 to the 5th. Now I'm going to change that into what? A whole number, Hubert. Thank you, class. So 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how much bigger is the first planet? 670,000 times bigger. Now again, you're talking about planets, so you got to think out of the box. A planet is a body, okay? You can't just think of it like a baseball. So see, that's the way I write on the board right there. I go all over the place. That's why sometimes I have to use a spreadsheet, because I go all over the place. Some of y'all have this organizational skill. I don't. So you put in 670,000. So let's check it, because there's still maybe somebody out there that thinks I'm crazy. So let's see what happens. I actually get people that still think I'm doing it wrong after they've done 3 wrong problems and I've done 3 right. They still think I'm doing it wrong because I do it a little bit different. 670,000. Okay, then I'm wrong. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I don't know what the answer is. Whatever. Okay, the reason I got the wrong answer is because right here. I'll take either answer. Okay, now, this is a good point to bring up a challenge question. Let's say that Ms. Shaw did this question and she, on the test, let's say this is a test question and she got it wrong because she put this the answer's that. I would count either one of those answers right. She'd see me after class, we'd look at it, pull it up, we'd look at it, and then I'd give her the point. That's how that works. Either one of those answers is correct. Do y'all see where my answer is still correct? I rounded to the nearest what? Thousandth, and they rounded to the nearest one. So, and down there where you see the red circle, I rounded that to 67 instead of 6666. Everybody see that? I hope everybody does. That's why. So, and it doesn't stress where to round, so that's why I would take either answer, because now it does say to the nearest whole number, but I thought that's what I was doing right here, but I should have left it like this, because then it would be 666,667, because this would bump that up to a 7, and then it's no big deal. Okay? Does that help? Okay. Now let's go over fractions, decimals, and percents. Not going to be very difficult. I think that's 10.1. So let's go over it right quick and then we'll be done. And that means Wednesday we'll be going over questions that you send me as well as the test. And that means that homework will end. I'll put an ending date on the homework Wednesday. And I'll put a beginning date and an end date on what? The test. That's the other thing besides the homework, the test. All right, so here we go. Fractions, decimals, and percents. Fractions, decimals. There's two parts, decimals and percents. All right, there is the part that shows you the conversions, which y'all should already know. So he's already upset. He's leaving. All right. There is going from a fraction, 1/2, 2 into 10.5. So I changed a fraction into a what? A decimal. All right. That's how you change a fraction to a decimal. Let's say I want a percent. Well, before we do percent, let's say what percent means. Percent means divided by centus, which is what? 100. So when you see the word percent, all you have to do is take that number and put it over 100. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Over 100, divided by 100. So if I gave you 50%, or if I gave you 75%, then you would divide 75 by 1. By what? 75 divided by 100, and that's 75%, sorry, 75% equals, and I could change that into a decimal by going 0.75, or I could change it into, well, that would be pretty much it. I could change it into, I changed it into a fraction right here and reduce it. 25 will go in here, what, 3, and then what, quarters? So there I changed it into a fraction. So I can go either way. So that's changing a percent to a fraction or a percent to a what? Decimal. This should be old stuff. This should be, oh yeah, I remember doing that in basic math. Or I remember doing that in pre-algebra or algebra 1. So all this should be like, I remember. And what if I give you a decimal? Well, you give you a decimal, 0.36. Well, what place is this? That's the tenth. What place is this? The hundredth. So I just move it 2 places to the right, and that's equal to 36%. Move the decimal 2 places to the right, and that becomes 36%. Or that's changing it into a percent. Or I can change it. What is the other than decimal and percent? A fraction. What place is it? 100. I can say 36 over what? 100, and reduce that down to 18 over 50. Reduce that down to 9 over what? 25. Y'all check me. I think that's about right. So that's the three conversions: fractions, decimals, percents. So if there's anything on the board that you don't understand, we need to go over it now. Okay, like I said, that's kind of a review. That's the first part. The second part is what type of questions you'll have. Okay? The second part, there's two types of questions you're going to have in this section. And I call them the sentence questions and the Walmart equation questions. The Walmart equation questions, sorry. Now the Walmart equation is something I came up with like the second semester I started teaching here. Walmart equation questions. And the Walmart equation questions is usually, you can do them either way, but when you're trying to find the original, okay, when you're trying to find the original price, you're trying to find the original ticket, you're trying to find something original, you need to use the Walmart equation. Other than that, you can use either way, either direction. You using your calculator or what? Oh, okay. Don't let me catch you texting because that's rude.
Okay.
All right. So, what do you use for the first one? Well, y'all remember this? Is, of, equals what? Percent over 100. That's how you do the sentence questions. They'll have those three things in it. 26 is what percent of 625? 30% of 16 is what number? That kind of stuff. Y'all seen those before on standardized tests or on pre-algebra tests, basic math tests? You've seen those. And what are you supposed to do? You go through the sentence and you pick out what you need. I'll do the first one for you and you can do the second one on your own. Okay? 26 what? Is. And then I'll take a green one. Of what? And that goes right there. And let's do the yellow. And that goes right here. And what goes in the percent slot?
26.
What goes in the percent slot? Nope. What's the word in front of it? What? How do you say what in English? Question mark. But we don't use question marks in algebra. What do we use? Variables. Letters. X. X is the unknown. You've heard that before, right? X is the unknown. So X over 100 equals 26 over what? 625. And now we do what? Cross multiply and solve for what? X. So 625x is equal to, this is easy, what's 26 times 100? 2600. And divide by 625. Divide by 625. And that's equal to, and it's easy, it's not that bad because 25 times 25 is 625, so you can divide by 25 on the top and the bottom, and that's going to give you 25 right here, and 25 will go in there one time. That'll leave what? 10, 0, and 10 will go into 25, 4, thank you. Make sure, multiply 25 times 104 and see what you get. Somebody do that for me. 25, 1 times 0, should be 104. Oh, watched another movie, it was weird. Undertow.
I haven't seen it.
You know the guy that played, have y'all seen, what was it, the Revolutionary War series on the History Channel? What was it called? About spies?
Turn?
Yeah. You know the guy that, the wormy guy that got beat up all the time that was a spy, what was his name?
I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, he was a teenager in this movie. So maybe, I guess he was 20, 30, maybe 20 years, 10 years ago. And he's a teenager with a son, with a brother, little brother. And they have this dad that gets killed by his brother. And they got these 20 gold, they got this sock of gold Spanish coins from like ancient, they got it from a museum or something, I don't know. And they run around running away from the brother who killed their daddy. And it was kind of interesting. It's one of those movies that's kind of weird. But it got your attention. It was pretty good. I'll shut up. Did somebody check to see if 25 times 625 or whatever or 104 is 2600? Okay, nobody checked it. Okay, all right. I guess we'll just guess. Nobody's going to check it for me or tell me. So what goes in the percent place here? 30. So you just put a 30 in that percent. Did you check 104 times 25?
Yeah.
Or what did I say? 25 times what?
2600.
Okay. Is that 104? Okay, I think that's it. Because 25 won't go into 104, so I think that's it. So it says 26 is, somebody divide 104 by 25. What do you get? It's going to be 4%. 4.6. So it's 4.6%.
4.16. 4.16.
4.16%. So 4%. So 26 is 4% of 625. Now this one, 30, it's going to go in the percents place. And then 16 is what? Up, so that's going to go in that spot. And what's going to go in the is spot? X. Cross multiply. You get 30x is equal to, nope, I'm sorry, I messed up. I suck. Go away. Okay, let me start again. Okay, 100x is equal to, what's 3 times 16? 48. And add a 0, 480. Look at here. Divide by 100. Divide by 100. What do you do when you divide by 100? X is equal to 4.8. So 30% of 16 is what? 4.8. That's how you use sentence problems. Is a percent over 100. Make sure you can do 2 or 3 of those. They should be in your homework. All right, because there'll be 2 or 3 of those on the test. Now, what about the Walmart equation? Well, that's the one you need to learn how to use because, especially if you're asked to find the original price. If you're asked to find the original price or the original cost or something like that, you need to use it. Everybody's used it in their head before. Let's say you got $10 in your pocket. You walk into Walmart, Walgreens, whatever. Have you ever gone through your head and you said, okay, this costs $5. There's a 5% tax, that'd be $5.25. You ever done that before? Y'all ain't gonna answer me anybody asked you anyway. Y'all done it before because you've counted taxes and you said, okay, this is $2, so that would be $2.10. That'd be $7 and whatever change. You've done that in your head before? Okay, that's called the Walmart equation. What you did is you took the original price, $5, and you added or subtracted. Added is taxes or what? Tips. What is subtraction? Starts with a D. Discounts, Hubert. Yeah, that's right, class. The percentage price, 5% times $5 is 25 cents, equals the total price. So you've done this in your head before. Anybody ever went into a store and the shirts were $25, but you take off 10%? 10% discount would be what? $2.50, $25 minus $2.50 is $22.50. You've done that before. You used the Walmart problem in your head. All I did was write it out. Okay? And of course, they probably write it out and put it in your book. I don't know. I didn't invent it. I just call it the Walmart equation. All right? Because you've done it before. And you've done it in your head. Now, when is a problem like this beneficial? I'll show you. Because some of y'all ain't going to believe it. Y'all going to think y'all can do it your own way, but you can't. Let's say there's a dang old, I worked at Walmart, dang old bin in Main Action Alley. They even call it that anymore. And it's got a sign in the middle of it. And the sign goes 27% off. And you can say 25% off. And let's say it's teddy bear. I don't know how to draw a teddy bear. I should have used a shirt. There. And shut up. And of course it's at Walmart, so there's nobody there to help you. And there's no cashiers, except one cashier on 30 cashier lines. Okay, so there's one cashier and there's nobody there to help you. So what do? Well, you go up and you take it up and they give you the total price. But what was the original price? They don't tell you that. Okay? Well, you go one of them scanners and it tells you, but you don't have one. They're all down. So how do you do it? All right? You know that the total, when you go up to the cashier, she says that the total with blah, 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 with the discount is $27.32. Okay, I just picked an odd number. Okay, I know teddy bears aren't that high. I know that. I just made up a number that's hard to figure in your head. All right?
Human size be like $100.
What?
Teddy bears?
Human size.
Yeah, like,
about
as tall as I am.
Yeah, they about
All
5
right,
feet.
my question is, what the hell would you buy a human size for?
That's what them girls be wanting for Valentine's Day. I wouldn't buy one, but they be posting them every day.
Bull crap. You the one that knows about it. You probably don't want one.
Right. Even some shoes and that.
Valentine's Day, what a joke. You know what? Holidays is to Hallmark what disorders are to the pharmacy companies. You ever notice every year they come out with a new what? Holiday. And guess who benefits? Hallmark. Every day they come out with a new disorder. And guess what? The pharmaceutical companies, guess what they come out with? A new drug with 15,000 side effects. You may jump off a bridge. I don't know why they sell these pharmaceuticals to people and have a list of side effects. Suicidal thoughts.
It's because you have to buy more medicine for those side effects. It's just a giant company.
I tell you what, Hallmark, the insurance companies, and the pharmaceutical companies are jokes. They're a con. Okay? And the Russians are all on top of it. All right. It's all their fault. So here we go. X What, minus or plus? Minus, because it's a what? Off, discount. 0.27x is equal to 27.32. Now this is where everybody just stares at it. At least for 15 minutes, you stare at it. Because magically, something's going to happen. No. All you got to do is add one little thing. What's in front of that first x? A 1. What's $1 minus 27 cents? 73 cents, Hubert. That's right. Right? Yes, one person interacted with me. Thank you. Now, how do you get rid of multiplying by 73 cents? You divide by 73 cents. Somebody take your handy-dandy calculator, handy-dandy calculator drill team, and divide 2732 divided by 0.73. What do you get? 37 point what?
42.
So that teddy bear originally cost $37. Now there will be people to tell you, oh, I'll just do the is of percent over 100. Can't do it that way. When you're asked to find the original, now you might do it with about 5 or 6 steps, but with the original price, the best way to do the original price is with the Walmart equation, or an equation like it.
Oh, so yes,
That's neat. That's all. So that's how you find out. Now, what if you want to find out the original price of a meal? Let's say that my favorite restaurant's Outback. So you go to Outback. I don't go downtown. Downtown's fake. I don't go down there. Every time I go down there, I see somebody that either owes my daddy money or owes me money, but they're eating downtown. You know, if you owe somebody money, you need to go to McDonald's and get the dollar menu. You don't need to be going down eating where you can't afford. That's why I don't go down there. Anyway, Outback, you usually don't see people like that. I guess, I don't know why, but you don't. Anyway, there's a lot of fake people downtown. Let's go with a meal. Let's say you and somebody go to Outback, and your meal and drinks and everything and dessert and tip comes out to be $82.42. And of course your waitress or waiter, depending on whatever, I don't care, is wanting at least a 20% tip. And you pay, on the bottom it says that you pay a certain amount if it's over whatever. Anyway, so you pay a 20% tip. And that's included in that. So what is the original price of the meal with the drinks and the dessert? Again, now what is a tip though? Is a tip a discount or is a tip added on? So that's going to be X plus 0.2 times 82.42. I'm sorry, I messed up. X. I got the wrong thing. It's going to be equal to 82.42. There we go. Equal X is equal to 82.42. Now, what's $1 plus 20 cents? $1.20. And divide 82.42 by 1.2. Can somebody give me that price? $15 minutes later. 20 minutes later.
68.68.
68.68. Everybody agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
So the original meal cost $69. Okay. And that's how you use just use when you talk about taxes or tips or discounts, and they're asking for the original price, look for the word original. When you see the word original, find the original price, find the original ticket, find the original whatever. It would be best for you to use the Walmart equation. Comprende? Okay, y'all get out of here. Y'all are done. Now y'all can do all the homework, including 10.1, and send in questions for the review, which will be when?